Hello friends, this is Cari for Redesign with Prima, and today I have a brand new set of rustic and charming ornaments to show you. They are so pretty, and I used two different molds combined to create these rustic framed style ornaments. So I'm going to start with Evergreen and Embers, as well as Winter Barnstead. So these are two of our new molds from this release for Home for the Holidays, and I'm going to prepare them now. I've already cast them in fast casting resin, and like I said, I'm going to prepare them now with some heavy gesso. So I'm going to try to get the look of wood on the slices, the log slices. So I start by priming them both with the heavy black gesso. So I try to get as much of an even coat as possible on both of these. This is going to give me like a darker undertone to make some of those details really pop, and I'm going to try and get a realistic wood look by layering some colors. So like I said, fast cast resin, then heavy black gesso, and go in there with my brush and get it nice and coated. For the images from the Winter Barnstead mold, I'm going to actually prime those with white gesso because I want them to pop a little bit more, and all of the vibrant colors I'll be adding will definitely do that with the white primer underneath. So the purpose of adding the gesso is not only to make the colors pop, but also to give the surface a little bit of tooth for those art mediums that I'm going to color these with just to stick to. So everything will go on nicely, evenly, and I will be able to blend and smooth everything out. So gesso is a really great primer for smooth surfaces. I use it all the time. Now I'm going back to my log slices, and I'm going to add the russet chalk paste. So I'm not going to do complete coverage, but I'm adding enough to do a nice even coat, but still let some of those black details come through. So I'm just basically adding the chalk paste over the main surface parts and letting some of those little details kind of shine through with the black, because I'm going for a dual tone look to get that realistic wood look going, if that makes any sense. I'm not watering down the paste at all. I'm just going on it with my brush and just putting it into the areas where I really want more of the brown to show, and it will allow that black to come through in certain areas. And my gesso layer is not complete, but I wasn't too worried about that because I knew I was going to go over it with this russet layer, and I am loving how it looks. I love having that black come through. It is more realistic looking, and as you can see, I think they turned out just fantastic. Now I'm just adding a light layer of mist to my surface, and I'm adding that russet again. The purpose of this is to get into all the nooks and crannies and details of these mold castings. Then I wipe it back with my baby wipe. This not only helps make more of the details show, but it also helps me to see where all of these little elements are so that I can color nicely, because sometimes it's difficult to see where there's a pine cone versus a berry and so on and so forth. So I love this method because it just helps me to see where I need to add the greens, the reds, and the browns and so forth. I make sure I get the sides really well, and I wipe it back. So I wipe it back almost immediately, and you'll see that that brown stays in all of those little minute details, and I think it adds a lot of character to it as well. This is an optional step. You don't have to do it, but I just prefer to do it. And to be honest, by the time I was done coloring, I'm really glad that I added this layer, because it actually warmed up a lot of the colors that I ended up adding to these castings anyway. So those warm brown tones really enhanced the overall design, I feel, and it really brought out a lot of the details. And there's details on there that I didn't even see with the naked eye. Now I'm going in with the cowbells. So the cowbells I had also cast with fast casting resin and coated with the heavy gesso, and now I'm adding the aged brass Art Alchemy Finnabair Decor Wax. So I'm really actually adding quite a lot of the wax because I just want a little bit of that black to show through. I really wanted these to look like metal and just have a little bit of those details show just very subtly. Now what's great about this step is I chose the aged brass, but if you wanted to choose a different metallic, like more of a brighter gold or perhaps a copper, that is completely up to you, and that would certainly look just as good, I feel. Now there was also little tiny pine cones in the winter Barnstead decor mold, which I had to use, also painted in gesso, and I added the aged brass wax too as well. I love these. I'm going to use them in the center of my bows at the top of the ornaments. And I just lightly, very, very lightly skim over the wood slices. I just want to add a little tiny bit of metallic essence just to make them shine a little bit and make them look a little bit more Christmassy. So this part is, again, optional, but I'm really glad that I did that because I think it just adds a little bit of elegance, just a little magic touch. And it also helped enhance a lot of those little details in the wood slices as well. Normally you guys all ask me about what the backs look like. So I did paint the backs in the black gesso, but I decided to really go heavy with the decor wax just to give them a little bit more of an elegant backing, I guess, and to finish it off really beautifully. Now I'm using my liquid acrylic paints. I chose 4 colors. I chose nude, avocado green, carmine, and also burnt sienna. So I decided to go in with the avocado green first and get into all the little pine sprigs and holly leaves. So I go in with my little Finnabair brush and I just go in very gently to all those little areas that I want greenery. Now I did mist this ahead of time, and another important thing to note is that in between the color applications on the castings, I do dry them. So I just take my hair dryer and dry the colors before I go on to the next. Because sometimes you will have colors run into each other and then it gets a little bit muddy and you don't want that. So I chose to dry in between the coats so I could keep going. You can certainly let it sit and dry for about half an hour and then keep going with that as well. And what's also important to note is that you can grab more of that green and go over it again if you feel like it's a little bit too light. Now I'm going over the bow with the nude. So the nude is actually like a really light pink color. And I thought this is just so pretty and soft and sweet. And it adds to that rustic charm perfectly for me. But you can certainly do the bow in red. You could do it in blue. It just depends on your color scheme for Christmas. But this is just the color I chose because I thought it was really sweet. And I am going to use the nude on the cow as well, so they both kind of match. Here again, I'm watering it down, and now I'm going in with the carmine liquid acrylic. So this is a really striking red, and it might be a little bit bright, but I don't mind because I am going to sort of add an aged effect to all of these colors anyway, which you'll see in just a minute. And I'm just dabbing in with that red paint, and it looks so beautiful. Now I did mist it. Like I said, I mist before I add each color. And what was interesting is that the red berries, when I dotted them, the red kind of went into the bow, like into the seams of the folds of the bow. And I ended up really loving that. But if you don't want that, you can just take a baby wipe and wipe it back and clean up that area too. And another thing I want to note is that you don't need to add a lot of water. It's just a light misting. You don't want to drench it. You don't want to oversaturate. You just want to be able to move those paints around and let them get into all of those details, because what's interesting is that when it seeps into, like, let's say the pine branches, it's a little bit darker in between the needles or where, you know, the little creases are. And I love that look. I love that it did that. But you don't want to overwater because then it will dilute your colors. So just keep that in mind. If you want really light pastel colors, then of course add more water. So again, I'm using the carmine red and the avocado green on the sprigs because I want both ornaments to coordinate together. I want them to match. So naturally I use the same liquid acrylic colors on both. And I just love how this is coming together. Now I'm applying the burnt sienna to the pine cones, and I'm just making them nice and rich. And this is the part where I feel like it's really important to know I missed some berries that were in there, and I didn't notice them even when I had added all the greens. So you can still miss some of these little tiny details, but that's okay. You can just go back in with the red or back in with the green or back in with the burnt sienna and fix it with a little baby wipe. So it's really not a big deal. Now I'm going in with the burnt sienna over the cow's ears and the main part of where it has its coat. So I do end up just sort of swishing those that brush into those little crevices, and I just love how they made all of those details come to life. It's really, really cool. And this is very relaxing. It's very easy, and I just can't stress that enough, because there's nothing worse than crafting and not enjoying yourself if you're worried about how the painting is going or how the colors are looking. This is actually really easy and really fun to apply. Another thing I wanted to note is I do go into the cow's nose with the nude. For some reason, I did not film that part, but I apologize for that. But I do add a little pink to the nose so that it matches the other one as well. And once I dry that main layer and put a little bit more burnt sienna concentrated in the eyes, I go over the greenery with a little bit more of that burnt sienna. So it gives it more of like, it tones down the colors, gives it a little bit more of a vintage look. And it brings everything together. So it makes it look aged and very pretty. And even the horns, I would have to say, you can add a very, very light coat of the burnt sienna to and wipe back a little bit if you want that to stand out, or you could go in it with the nude. And here I'm doing the burnt sienna over the greenery and the bow on the other part as well. And I would love to know in the comments what your color scheme would be for your tree this year, or what you go for every year. I'm always interested to know. And let me know if you've tried the liquid acrylics before, because I'm telling you, I think you'd really have a lot of fun. And a little drop goes a very, very long way, by the way. Now I'm taking the castings that I've colored and I'm adding it to the wood slices with clear contact adhesive. So it's a very strong contact adhesive by Gorilla Glue. And I do this at first just to kind of put them in place. And what I end up doing is using a little bit of UV resin later to secure them even more. So I did invest in some UV resin. I'm excited about that. At the tops, I'm just adding this gold thread and I'm making loops. That's it. I'm going to tie it around the top a couple times and make a loop, and that is it, and just a little knot at the back. Now, I wanted to originally hang these little cowbells, but when I tested it, I didn't like how they hung. So I decided to go ahead and adhere them to the top. And I am taking just a little bit of that UV resin and adding it to the backs and those little hoops. So because I know I'm going to cover that with a bow and the pine cone, so I don't mind if a little bit of it shows, but you only need a tiny bit of the UV resin. You just put it around the area that you want to secure to the other resin piece. And then I just bought this little inexpensive UV light. You can find them on Amazon. They are for gel nails and things like that. But I just put it on the 90-second setting a couple times to make sure that the UV set and it was good to go. And I did add just a little bead of that UV resin to the back of the casting and set it as well. Now I'm just using that contact adhesive again at the top just to secure my bow. And there's a little pine cone, and then I'll use the contact adhesive to also adhere the little pine cone to the middle of the bow as well, and that really finishes off the look perfectly. You can do a couple drops of the UV resin to make sure everything stays in place. That's totally up to you. It will stay in place once you do that. And here it is all finished. I wanted to show you up close all of the details and how it looks. You know, it's not totally perfect, but I really love how easy this was and how pretty it looks. And now I can hang these on a wreath. I can hang them on a tree, and let me know where you would hang them. I think that some of your ideas are better than mine most times, but I just love them and I can't wait to put them on my tree. I just think they're adorable. Let me know what you guys think, and if you would make something like this, or let me know what you would like to see. Maybe other color options, maybe different combinations. I would love to know. And here are my finished ornaments. I really appreciate you guys watching, and I really hope I inspired you to try some new art mediums to make these beautiful ornaments and get creative yourselves. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to answer anything if I missed anything. Make sure you keep an eye on the channel because we are going to have loads of ornament ideas and tutorials coming up very, very soon. Have a great day, everyone.